Welcome to Amaka Intellectual Factory, where I host podcasts and many other interesting stuff. Since Simone Biles' husband's interview is still trending, I decided to put out another video on a very interesting angle to it because it's yet another teachable moment for me. This video was inspired by the comment of one of my viewers in my last video. She wrote that the marriage will not last. But then, my first thought was, why will Simone Biles' marriage not last? There are way worse marriages that have lasted. So it got me thinking about their challenges, and I decided to share my analysis with you all. It's like the Black conscious community like to say, each one reach one to teach one. But before I go further, I have to make a disclaimer because of the subsequent videos that I'll be putting out. Here it goes. Marriage is a very ancient, man-made construct. Men created marriage as a means to not only subjugate women and defeat matriarchy, but to also control themselves because it gave men a sense of purpose and made them more responsible. I will subsequently talk more extensively on my disclaimer, but it is important that I put this out there now so that it does not come off as me defending the marriage institution, especially marriage to men, when I speak on Simone Biles' marriage. I will tell you right now, I do not subscribe to the marriage institution as established by patriarchy. And I'm not just blowing hot air. I will be sharing very juicy information and backing up my points with historical evidence. Now, back to topic. What are the challenges Simone Biles' marriage faces? The many psychological operations that have been put in place, running concurrently with the sole agenda of making sure that the Black woman is never happy. Simone Biles' marriage in particular goes against the currently very aggressive interracial relationship psychological operation that is targeted at Black women. Far too many Black women and girls are swirling. This is not an organic situation to anyone with a sense of discernment. In order for this to occur, the psychological operation of Black men cursing out Black women had to occur. And while that was happening, non-Black men, even men from the most nefarious misogynistic societies, were posting videos declaring their love for Black women, while Black men were declaring hatred for Black women. Then we saw the birth of the manosphere, from Tommy Sotomayor to Kevin Samuels. The most recent psychological operation running to push Black women into the hands of non-Black men and women is the Passport Bros movement. I just had to give a brief account of how we got here, but this is a conversation for another day. It's necessary that as Black women, we study and we learn to intellectually process things. And that is where I come in with my contribution. You see, according to the interracial relationship psychological operation, Simone Biles is supposed to be with a white guy. People like Tony Gaskins, who feel like she is not beautiful enough for her husband, would not have held the same opinion if she was with a quote and unquote handsome white guy. They reference this interracial relationship psychological operation as though we are so helpless against it and can't put out our own counter psychological operations. The same goes for Jonathan Owens, Simone Biles' husband. According to this interracial relationship psychological operation, he too being a rising star in sports, is expected to be married to a non-black woman, preferably a white woman or a Latina. But by these two choosing to be with each other, it threatens to frustrate this interracial relationship psychological operation, and all it takes is for a few more of these types of young black relationships, and the spell will be broken. This swirling thing is no joke. I too have my personal story to share on how I was being conditioned to be a swirler. But unfortunately for the sorcerers behind that, I knew their hand, so it couldn't work. The white woman, or Latina, or even black Babylonian woman they intend to use to rock this relationship is in training in boot camp. I mean it. I'm not trying to be funny. I'll say it again. The white woman, or Latina, or black Babylonian woman they intend to use to wreck this relationship is training in boot camp. She's learning all the arts of seduction to use on Jonathan Owens. While the white knight in shining armor that is meant to pick Simone Biles up should they break up is on standby. Initially, the psychological operations was exclusively targeting dark-skinned black women, and I bet light-skinned black women thought they were safe. But now, even light-skinned black women are swirling just as much as dark-skinned black women. What we need to be cautious of is that black women are a major resource to black people. Dark-skinned black women in particular are a major resource to black people. And she can do magic. She brings a lot to the table. Everybody seems to know this except black people, and it is by design. I prefer to call this programming a psychological operation because it passes across the seriousness with which those engaging in it have in their agenda to keep black people divided. And mind you, black lesbians are not spared either because the target is the black woman. We simply can no longer afford to be losing these precious women to this psychological operation. Things just don't happen overnight, and black women need to understand silent warfare, covert warfare, indirect warfare, and psychological operations. Our understanding of warfare is too infantile and basic. Warfare goes beyond guns and bombs. So our understanding of warfare needs to evolve. There's just no other way. But black women have to see beyond the bread and circus put in front of them in order to evolve. Black women have to relearn military strategies. There are many interesting books, a lot of them free online, mind you, that you can start with. And I will be here to engage you in a discussion about what you have read. Let me also use this opportunity to introduce my viewers to my other channel, Amaka Narrates. I'll be doing a lot of book reviews, book narrations, and live discussions on books on that channel. So subscribe to Amaka Narrates as well if you haven't done that already. The link is going to be in my description box below. It is not normal that almost all black women in Los Angeles is a swirler. Something is bringing about it, and that thing is not a natural phenomenon. It is a form of manipulation, so there's an ulterior motive, and that should bother you. Black women need to stop allowing themselves to be pawns in the hands of those who don't wish them well. And now, even in our places of work, These non-black men expect a black woman to automatically desire and want them. You can't keep to yourself. Get to work, do your job diligently, get paid, and go home without these non-black men being offended you're not desiring them or chasing after them. That's a whole topic on its own, where these non-black men are becoming aggressive in their approach and expectations of black women. I had an Arab man offer me food at work. This is not even food he bought for me, but his leftover. That's how lowly some of these men see black women, even when you don't give them reason to. I said no thank you. I remember when I was still kinda new, he would like talking to me, and I mean no harm, but this is a conversation I'm not really interested in. So I always found a way to get myself out of it. It didn't take too long before he got the message. Then much later, he told me I needed to smile more and be friendlier. But I am friendly, and I smile too, just not when I'm working. And it's all for my safety and sanity. Anyway, when young black people decide to get together, it drives these people crazy. Why does almost all the male or even female partners of black women in commercials have to be non-black? Why are dating app commercials on the internet marketed to black women always showing non-black men and non-black women as potential partners? Like I said earlier, black women need to understand silent warfare, covert warfare, indirect warfare, and psychological operations. There's just no other way if you want to live your blessed life. But guess what? As I speak, a group of white men are quietly banning books in droves, in libraries, and in extreme cases, outrightly banning the sale of these books anywhere. They said they are getting obscene books off the shelves. But we found they were also banning classic literature. So clearly, when the study said more and more children in America can't read or do math, it was in line with some people's agenda. A topic for another day. Now, black women, we need to learn how to stop wearing our emotions on our sleeves or expecting other people to be like that. That's why black women need to start reading. I have read quite a number of books on strategies, military strategies. This is why I say I am a master military strategist in training. But when I first started studying strategies, I didn't quite understand what I was studying. It's like Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary Japanese samurai, said in his book, The Book of Five Rings. Everything is difficult at first. I get more discernment and learn new ways to apply what I study, even now, every day. Recently, I had a financial emergency, and it was a Latina at work that helped me. If it were the other way round, and I was equally able, I too would help her or any non-black person. However, that does not mean I should not guard myself. Nobody is saying you should become hostile to non-black people. On the contrary, reading and understanding your history and strategies would give you a new peace of mind, and you relate peacefully and healthily with your people and other people. You will see the wickedness in telling a beautiful, accomplished, elegant, young black woman that she does not deserve what she has, simply because of the way she looks. By whose standards are you reaching such an egregious conclusion? There's just no excuse for it. But this is a pattern of behavior I have observed from dark-skinned black men. Sometimes their toxicity is subtle. Sometimes it's in your face. From Tommy Sotomayor to Kevin Samuels. Tony Gaskins is a dark-skinned black man, not nearly as overtly toxic as Tommy Sotomayor is or Kevin Samuels was. But it is nevertheless wicked to utter such hurtful words. And wasn't it the dark-skinned, black Babylonian guy on The Pivot that pretty much set Simone Biles' husband up for all these criticisms? After all, he was the one making all that facial expression and saying those hurtful things. Unfortunately, Jonathan Owens is not the smartest cookie in the jar. He lacks the knowledge of strategy. Otherwise, he would have stopped the interview, demanded an apology to Simone Biles, and get an assurance that the interview won't continue to be disrespectful to her. Trust me, I'll be going in on the nature of a select group of dark-skinned black men. However, we are in the United States, and I believe in the First Amendment and would defend your rights to express yourself, because I also see how even our First Amendment rights are being threatened. I'm telling you, life is beautiful and worth living when we live and let live. So back to the question that brought about my reaction. Will Simone Biles' marriage last? Only if she and her husband are constantly aware of the psychological operations they are going against by being with each other, and they're haters, and they remain truthful and faithful to one another. Simone Biles seems like a solid young woman. I can almost vouch for her that she would work to make her marriage last. However, I can't put as much confidence on her husband, although his body language tells me he loves her and will do what is necessary to protect their relationship. He clearly exhibits the desire for a healthy relationship, but that desire is not enough. If he knows what's good for him, he will try to maintain this relationship. If you ask me, Simone Biles is the best woman for him because she loves and respects him and is willing to bend for him. And if things don't work out, he should know better to stay away from non-black women. Contrary to the popular belief, as a result of psychological operations, this guy is not meant for non-black women. This is a black woman guy. Only a black woman can make him whole and happy. However, I'm of the opinion Simone Biles can still do way better than him. But since they have found each other, and it looks genuine, I can only wish them the best. The fact is, Jonathan Owens is a man, and men have their nature that you must deal with when you decide you want to be with a man. It is what it is. Perhaps this is why Lao Tzu, the ancient Asian philosopher, advised in his book, Tao Te Ching, or the Book of the Way, know the man, but cling to the woman. That's all I have to say for now. Until next time, take care of your lovely selves, and remember, life is beautiful and worth living.